Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and it's time for part 2 of the Monday Q&As. So let's knock it out. First question. What do you do to fix the muscular imbalance of training deadlifts for a year with straps, therefore having a very weak grip and weak raw deadlift compared to deadlift with straps? Well, what you're going to have to do is lose the straps and go back to training without them for a while and start doing additional grip work, just wide varieties of grip work. Do all your pulling without straps, and you're going to have to catch your grip strength back up. Now, I'm not anti-strap for deadlifts and for general hypertrophy work, but the problem is that straps need to be used appropriately. You use straps when you're at a point to where you know your grip isn't going to hold out. For a lot of people, if you're doing a lot of sets of deadlifts or pulling, your grip will give out, and therefore you start using straps in those later sets to help deal with it. But if you're using straps for every set of deadlifts, even when you're doing only 1 or 2 work sets per session, you are absolutely going to kill your grip strength, and you're going to struggle and be in exactly the position you're in. So the best thing to do is not be in that position at all. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't use straps to some extent, but limit the straps to the high volume pulling, not to the low volume pulling. It's just my general recommendation, because again, even for someone who's trying to hit a good max deadlift at a powerlifting meet, they really only have to grip 3 heavy reps. So if you're training no more than 3, 4, 5 heavy reps in a single session, you probably shouldn't strap up. Now, if you're going to go do 10 sets of 3 on deadlifts or something, obviously grip strength can become an issue. Your grip can be fatigued, and for something like that, you might need to use straps. But these low volume pulling sessions using straps is exactly how you get in the situation you're in. So now you're at a point where you're just going to have to go back through and do a ton of grip work over the next few months to try to play catch up. All right, next question. What do you think of rest pause training for adding time efficient volume? For example, pick up a weight you can perform 10 to 15 reps with, do 10 to 15 reps. Rest 10 to 20 seconds, do 3 to 5 reps. Rest 10 to 20 seconds, do 3 to 5 reps for 5 to 6 total sets. Well, you may not be able to do that, keep doing it like you think for 5 or 6 total sets. I mean, 20 seconds at a certain point, even getting 3 or 4 more reps, it's going to become very difficult, possibly before you hit that 5th or 6th set. But as far as that goes, those are really counted as just extended sets. Rest pause training isn't so much multiple sets, it's just a long extended set. It's a very valid form of training. It's very viable. The only issue is that it can tax your recovery a lot. It can beat you up, so you're not going to be able to do a lot of volume with it, and you are going to need to pay attention to the frequency. As long as you can balance recovery with it and keep the volume itself in check, yeah, it's a very, very good way to put on size and strength with a lower time commitment to the gym. So it is an effective method. Just be aware that it can fatigue you and exhaust you and impede recovery if you're not careful in how you balance it out. But it's a very effective time-proven method. All right, next question. When box squatting, should you fully sit back or just tap it with your glutes? Well, it depends on why you're doing box squats, really. A lot of people are doing box squats who don't need to do them, and that's a whole nother topic. If you are doing box squats because you feel that you need to be doing box squats for some reason, you do need to sit back and just tapping your glutes. You don't want to do that. You don't ever want to slam the box hard. You don't want to just do a squat to a box, which is like a touch and go on it. You need to actually fully sit back, and you need to basically sit down on the box while still keeping your back in a proper safe position. So you do need to sit back. It is important on the box squat for a whole host of reasons. But the real question I ask people with that is make sure that you actually have a real reason why you're doing box squats, and you're not just doing them for the sake of doing them. All right, next question. Hey Jason, regarding powerlifting, would it be better for me to do some extra hypertrophy work for the triceps, lower back, quads, and hamstrings? Or should I just crank out another set of bench squat and deadlifts? I use using a Bulgarian type program. You know, the thing is with the Bulgarian type programs, particularly if you aren't using many drugs, you do need to be careful of all the extra accessory work. Now, if you were just doing some other sort of power building style powerlifting program, I would say, you know, there's nothing wrong with hitting those possible weak links up and adding some extra meat there, because the truth be told, those are relatively small muscles, many of them, other than the quads, but things like hamstrings, lower back, triceps, those don't add a lot of weight to you even when you hypertrophy them significantly. So if you're worried about, say, a weight class or something as a strength athlete, those little weak links, adding some extra meat to them by just doing some additional high rep work and just putting some metabolic fatigue there, can potentially bring up your weak points, make you stronger on all your lifts without adding a lot of body weight to you in terms of extra muscle. that it isn't functional so much or helping you. I mean, all muscle is functional, but it may not be helping you so much with your Wilks score, say as a power lifter, or your strength to weight ratios for whatever you happen to do. So it's certainly viable, but when you're doing the Bulgarian type training, you need to be very careful with how much additional hypertrophy work you do for things just because of the total fatigue. You're coming in and you're hitting training maxes every single day on all your big lifts on this type of system. Watch the total volume, watch your recovery. If you start trying to mess with adding too many extra accessories in, a few are okay, just don't go overboard. All right, next question. People say that morning cardio on an empty stomach is the best way to burn fat, and other people say that it doesn't matter when you do cardio because it has the same effect on fat burning. Your thoughts on this subject? Subject to a lot of controversy. I've done whole videos on this actually a couple months back. Brad Schoenfeld has started producing some data. I got in a discussion with him on it over on Facebook, and he was showing me that, yeah, there does appear to be some data emerging showing that over a period of time, the fasted cardio like that may actually give you slightly less fat loss than doing fed cardio of some type, and potentially due to a little bit of muscle loss and other issues. So it may not be as good as we thought it was. It's always been a favorite of a lot of pre-contest bodybuilders. The thing you got to remember though is that a lot of pre-contest bodybuilders are having to use little tricks to get that last bit of body fat off. It's very difficult to do. Most people are never going to get that lean, and they're generally using a lot of drugs to keep both their metabolic rate and their muscle mass intact. So that being said, it's a little different of an animal than for most people who are dieting. Now, I have done the fasted cardio thing and used it quite a bit, but in all honesty, I don't know that it really helped me. And I've seen data saying now that it doesn't seem to have any real benefits, and there's some emerging showing possible issues of it being inferior. I'm personally reluctant to recommend it at all anymore or use it myself, just because of that, with that uncertainty level. There doesn't seem to be any real benefit, and you're carrying extra risk. So, you know, why bother at that point when the data is starting to show that working with actual athletes? And we'll see where that data goes in the future. I don't know. I'll be paying attention to it, and I'll be on the lookout, and I'll try to keep people up to speed on that. All right, next question. Thoughts on Rich Piana's new liver and detoxification supplement? I don't need to see it. I just see already the names. Detoxification supplements and teas and everything else have never worked. They're silly. That's not even how the body works. The body doesn't work that way. There's nothing you're going to take like that that's going to detox you. That's generally just marketing and gimmicks for products. So the detoxing, yeah, there you go. As far as liver stuff goes, a lot of that's the same thing. If you're doing something to your body that is putting too much strain on your liver, most of these supplements and even drugs that people come up with to help with that generally don't do a lot, if anything, to help you there. So I'm not familiar with this product. I haven't seen it. But just the fact that it works with those two things, I'm going to be skeptical. On the detoxification part, those things never work. I wouldn't bother with it. All right, next question. Your boy Chris Jones did a video with Vince G just recently. They did a ton of arm work. Do you think that kind of volume for arms is good for naturals or too much? You know, here's the thing that it comes down to. We know that doing high volumes of arm work like that for naturals isn't efficient. It isn't going to give any additional growth beyond a certain threshold. But by that same token, a lot of people like to do a lot of volume. And Chris and Vince both have good size arms. It's certainly not hurting their progress in any way that I can tell. And the real issue there is that it's just wasting time in the gym. It could be making you more sore, more fatigued, and be spending more time than you need to spend on something that isn't helping you or benefiting you in any way. And so that's the real issue there. And it may not be helping, but you know, some people just happen to enjoy going in and doing useless and needless work just for their own psychological reasons. Maybe they just happen to really enjoy coming in and doing a lot of volume. And if that happens to be you, it's probably not going to hurt your progress in any way. If you end up doing double or triple the amount of work that you need to make near maximum gains, but you enjoy doing it and enjoy spending your time that way and you have the free time for it, it's probably not a big deal to just come in and do it. So do what you want to do there. Just keep in mind, though, that there may not be and there probably aren't any benefits to that much. So if you have time constraints or you're getting sore from it and you don't actually like the soreness with no payoff and you don't really enjoy doing it just for fun and pleasure, no need to do it. So do what you want to do there. All right, next question and last question of the week. Do you shave your head every day or every other day and with or against the grain? Thoughts on using baby oil before the layer of soap or shaving cream to get a closer shave on the scalp? I do not do oil on my scalp because I have psoriasis and it tends to break it out. That is one of the reasons I do shave my head. In addition to the fact that I just like the look, and I really hate styling my hair and I hate styling products because they tend to irritate my scalp in general, even the more expensive ones. I just started shaving my head at some point, and I do go against the grain. I try to shave it every day, sometimes only every other day, but I would say a minimum of, I average say 5 times a week. I usually just use a multi-bladed razor and shaving cream, but sometimes I just soak in a hot bath and I just shave it under the water with a little bit of like shower gel or something. So it really depends on what I'm doing as far as that. I mean, I'm not even always consistent day to day. Sometimes I skip days. So again, I'd say 5 times a week, usually shaving cream, something with aloe in it, or I'll use like a body wash and just do it in a hot bath. But yeah, I definitely shave against the grain. That's the only way I can get a close shave on mine. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it has been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time. But let me give you guys a bicep shot before I go. Oh, Mount Bicephalus.